How you doing, everybody? I've got my first guest today. We just done the show, Discovering New Things. It's Culturalution, the founding members of Culturalution, and I'm bringing in Daniel Esteridge with on Big Condo Radio. How you doing, Daniel?
Yeah, man. Yeah, right. I could definitely good.
Oh, good to have you on. And
Happy to be here, you know.
And this is also an anticipated interview because, you know, Daniel's been inactive, obviously, due to what's gone on in the past and that.
Lockdown.
But one of the main things that we've got him here today is that, you know, all this traveling I've been talking about and that. Like I said, you know, Daniel, he came to me to Malaysia, and we want to speak on the indigenous peoples, and these are the indigenous black peoples of Asia. And this was the first experience when I went to Asia to visit the tribes in a place called Tamanagara. So I want to speak to Daniel on his experience. He was there with me. Mm-hmm. So Daniel,
great time, man.
How you doing anyway?
Yeah, definitely good, you know, brother. Is what it is, man. It's like, you know, everything's just crazy right now. It's a bit slow. Fingo's just got a lot of good memories with you.
Yeah.
Great first time out there, you know.
So I would have started and all that, you know. I was traveling for years and that, and then we got to a point of 2014. You know, I went to visit Malaysia with Daniel, and Daniel never really came away at first. He wasn't as traveled, but then when he came and when he came back, he felt like it changed his life. Yeah, so man. To start from 2014, Daniel, when you decided to change your life from that time, what made you just decide now I'm going to go on this adventure and visit these tribes?
Well, if you remember, every time you go somewhere, we talk about it beforehand, and as soon as you landed, we'd always talk about it. You tell me about what you've seen, your experiences, your knowledge, the people you met, tribe leaders, so forth, places you've been so much. So it was kind of like, you keep offering me to go, and I'm like, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, I'm busy. I weren't really showing no interest of it, but obviously we've had like talks in great detail. So I was living vicariously through you, through a lot of it. And then, as usual, life gets to you. I was kind of like, you know, you don't even understand, kid. Like at the time, it's kind of like I was spiraling, bro. So it was kind of like I was going down. You know what I mean? I was in like bad places and just whatever. And when you're saying to me, come kidder, come over here with me, so my first reaction's like, usually I'm like, and then this time I'm like, well, you know what, everything's that bad, what have I got to lose? I should go learn something, do something totally different, out of my comfort zone, out of my zone, from what I know, because you know, all we know is where we're from. And boy, put down the deposit. Yeah. I was all in from there, you know what I'm saying?
Also, even though you weren't a frequent traveller or flyer, when there was a plane that came down, these planes that came down, I mean, not to go into too much detail, but you know, the about the plane that came down in Malaysia. Man. But
the Air Malaysia, innit? You know that one.
Now, that was about 2 weeks before the second one came down, and it was like, a lot of people were saying to us, I wouldn't go about you.
A lot of people were telling us, like, you know, we care for you, don't go. And I'm like, well, you know what?
We met up together one time, just me and you. Just me and you, we met up. Yeah. We had to meet, I think we met up about 11 in the night, and we discussed, man, let's just do this.
Yeah, because you know what? Anytime you get on a plane, you know, there's a chance of you going down anyway. What you going to do? Accept it, bro. So flow with it. Exactly. And you know what? Couldn't have been no worse than what we would live, where we are and what we're doing, you know? So you got to take that chance, man. I'm glad we did.
So when we got there now...
Really glad, man.
So when you got there now, and then I'm telling you about these tribes and stuff, and then you remember the journey, we got picked up about 6 in the morning.
That was crazy, man. I've been up at that time and listen, I'm out drinking.
And then you know? when we finally got there, and then we walked on this longest canopy in the world. I think it's about 135 feet, and it's about 500 meters long, the longest one in the world.
That was crazy, man. You know what I mean? That was like real. That was a mad experience, you know. Like even when you're thinking about it, it's like mad spiritual. But it's kind of like the western side is like, you lie, I'm kind of in jeopardy here as well. We were so high up in the trees and that on like rickety hand-built things where you lie how people walk this. But we walked it. It was crazy, man. It was like
the spiritual walk.
Done. It was enlightening. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I ain't even into that. But
also as well, this is a proper rainforest where there's tigers, there's snakes. Some people think don't, but it's for real. I mean, and when
remember, man, I ripped me LeBrons there, man. I was gutted, man. My tradies just got ruined, but it was so worth it. You know what I mean? I could like seriously done. It was like so worth it, man.
Now, when we remember we were at the top of the canopy, it's about 135 feet, and there was trees that was hiding us, and I remember seeing signs saying "Beware of snakes."
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I don't know much about snakes, but you know what?
Yeah.
Them dudes can climb trees, and that's why we're fixing about getting bit that far up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even when like, cause you know, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, yo, I'm a big dude, and I remember the German guy in front of me. He was a big dude as well. So I'm saying to the guy like, don't you want to separate us and that? Cause you know there might be too much weight on this.
Well,
and they were
I was
buzzing.
in front of you, weren't I?
Yeah, you were in front of. That's where we switched places. Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't going in front of this. Me and this big German dude, yo. I'm like, we're gonna break this thing, man. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
No, it was. What about when we encountered the tribes? Did you expect them? They're gonna look like African people, black people? I mean,
So I swear to God, kid.
from what you knew about a Malaysian person.
Well, as you know, I had mates from Malaysia. That's why we actually went to Malaysia, and everyone was like, you know, your first big trip, why you going to Malaysia? And I'm like, well, I ain't never met a Malaysian I didn't like. Good people, you know what I mean? Like, really good people.
But the tribes.
So
what
the
they look
tribes,
like.
when we went there, yo, that was crazy because, you know, you can see, like, the people who I know, a couple of them had a quite Mongolian look.
The Austronesian
Yeah,
look. And
exactly.
Mixture,
so you could tell they had melanin in them, you know what I mean? Either which way. But when we went there, I was like totally like surprised as hell because they just look like us. They look like us in a different place. I seen man on the street who look like these dudes we're sitting with, who were from like way back in a place where we don't get to see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like
very secluded.
As soon as we got there, it was great because it was like, yo, I feel more at home here on this little island with this tribe than we actually did in Malaysia.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? There was like very little communication because the chief spoke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As you spoke to the chief while I was playing with the dark hood.
The blowpipe, yeah.
The people, man, you know, we smile, they smile, we smile back.
Yeah.
That's the only conversation we needed. We were welcome and we were there.
Yeah.
And they showed us about their life. Everything that they'd been through, what they told us about the hunting, how they protect themselves from tigers with the blowguns.
Blowpipe,
the blowpipe, they had certain hunters. And, like, even so far as to go, like, they had us practicing with the blowguns, isn't it? And it ain't no easy feat. And
very short, very small people.
man. They were average size, but they were shorter than the average brother you'd see today.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like average 5'5", so forth.
Yeah,
even the chief, he weren't of big stature, was he?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when they're breaking it down to us, and you're like, you see the life they showed us, how they make fire and stuff. Although they're still using sticks, they're using the same contraption they've made, which actually made it easier. So it was like a little wine pulley, you know what you get for your toys, and you jig it.
Yeah.
So that'd make smoke a lot quicker. Throw on the leaves, blow, still the same techniques, but adapted to like new ways. So you can see how far people have come from back when man's there with the hands and stuff. But it was.
Do you remember when they said that they buried the dead in the trees, but only for so many days?
Yeah. Well, they said like when somebody from the tribe dies, they put them in the tree back to the earth. That's the ritual. Because didn't they say they actually worship the forest, the trees?
Oh yeah.
That was
nature.
That was their spiritual like entity. They didn't
definitely.
need no statues or nobody to call by name. They just respect the earth where they lived. They also made a living off the trees, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, they was into acting with the Malaysian world through a concoction they could only make, which actually come from the tree. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it had something to do with sap, and it was medicines, and, you know, the Malaysian country actually employed them to import that into theirs, you know what I mean? And then you hear them talk about how they were trying to integrate them into Malaysian life if they wanted to be. So remember when we seen like half of the tribe remained totally tribal, and the others they were dressed in Western clothes. They were like learning ways. They were learning how to speak Malaysian, going to school, going out there, getting jobs. And then you could actually see when we were there, because the huts that were on the right up the hill, they was like the people who were crossing over. And then to the left, you'd see people in traditional dress. They'd still be the women with no tops on and the grass skirts with the huts. You know what I mean? So they were living in uniset, like harmony, but it was kind of two different worlds. And the guy was saying to us, when they buried the dead, they put them in the tree. nobody can go near this place for a certain time. It's totally sacred.
And I was very surprised when he said that. I remember that asking him, "Won't the tigers eat them?" And he said, "No."
Yeah, well,
because
they
do something to the body
they
and
said
stuff.
it's kind of like, and if they do come, we got the specialists there with the blowguns, so we're like, boy,
6 seconds, killed them with the poison.
exactly. So you gotta hit them with like 5 darts. So I'm like, I don't know how the hell you're doing this, because one, there's a tiger out there. 2, you all got blowguns, and 3, you gotta hit like.
You were good with the blowpipe,
I
though.
was all right with it, man. You know
good.
what I mean? I was like, I was trying to make them proud of me, you know, as a black person. You know, like we're from a different land. We don't use blowguns, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put work in on this.
Also, as well, now
it's crazy. Though.
Now, there's more to it with this. Also, is where there's the tour guide when we got there, and he was telling a lot of tales where he was saying about these come from Papua New Guinea 200 years ago. When I'd already done the research and seen they'd been there 40,000, 60,000, maybe even longer.
Yeah, man.
So, and then also he was explaining, he was just so anti-African, and he wanted to also say that they didn't come from Africa, they came from Siberia. He was coming with all different.
Well, this is the thing. This is why we created this, because you go to a lot of places, and it's kind of like they don't want to give us our props or acknowledgement. They hide us. Because we were hidden. The Asli tribe were hidden. People
they want you to think. Because they want you to think that they're the indigenous people.
There you go. You know what I mean? When me and you both know, we were with people who I know from there, and they helped us with the cause to find the tour and so forth. And they didn't even know about the Asli tribe. Yeah. These are people who were educated, who've travelled the world, who were building the second largest bridge over there with the diplomas that they got from England. That's how I know these guys.
Yeah.
So,
but you remember how many shops I had to go in until and then finally someone's overheard the conversation and then explained that these people don't know the history. And then we had to go 20-minute drive to the office and he was telling us about the Aslis and
that
stuff.
was actually a touch of luck, man, because you
luck.
wouldn't let it go, man. He was like a pit bull, seriously. You put the work in, man. You knew what you were talking about and where you wanted to go. And a lot of these other places were just talking about going on boat trips and seeing some stuff that we weren't interested in. You know what I'm saying? So it's actually lucky we bumped into that guy, because he put us on it. Told us which office to go and all. Remember, we got the cab. You know what I mean? Went up there, we waited outside in the cab. Then you went and got the thing. Then we went and met our people. And they made the call and broke it down. Imagine trying to make that call. But
like I say, it was great that you came, though, because you see, I was speaking to a lot of people. And about other people, I mean, we've got our fathers who've been there and that, but there's a lot of people who didn't want to go. Like, they were like, well, I'd rather go and do other things. Like, no interest in learning who these indigenous peoples are.
There you go, because...
The special people, because the hidden people, I mean, you speak to your average person, no one knows that they look like that.
Yeah, they don't, the own people of the own country don't even know. Like I said, these are educated people. These people are educated more than me and you. Exactly. So how they not know about this tribe in their back garden?
Exactly.
Where they were showing interest in it and going, you lie, how did you find this and that? And I'm like, our kids done the research, and like you said, the way the guy was saying, oh, they've been here for like 200 years or something like that. He blew it off, and it was kind of like me and you were the only people there to actually see the Asli. So we kind of went our own. The other people was like,
well, they're just yes people. Okay, you know, like
they just went to see like you go to the zoo to see people in it. You know what I mean? They didn't really. They just wanted to marvel at these people who were different.
Did you notice that on the tour guide where he was trying to keep us? They don't want you too close to the tribes. Where I seen the chief on the high hill. You know,
as I'm saying, when we actually touched down on the island, me and you were no longer part of that tour. We were just on our own mission.
Independent.
I was there taking pictures of the drawings they were doing on the huts and that, the kids. You know what I mean? And oh my, it was just like, it was so enlightening. It was crazy to see like this far in the world, these people who look like us, they look more like us than we look like. You know what I mean? These are purebreds, man.
Pure spiritual connection you get.
Pure,
with them.
Man. Yeah. Pure people, man. Everybody was smiling. Everybody was happy. You know, they didn't think, oh, what are you doing here? You're here to look at us, whatever. They welcomed us in. They showed us some stuff. You asked questions, like you talked to the chief more than anything, you know what I mean? Then I caught up with you a bit later because I was playing with blowguns.
Nah, but
you know what I'm saying?
You're good at that, though.
Yeah, man. That's funny, man.
But yes, and also as well, you know, straight after we went to Malaysia, we went over to Indonesia.
Yeah, we went over there.
Now, we were looking, we spotted all over. We didn't even have to go to rainforest.
Loads of crazy.
You didn't have to go to rainforest to see black people.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot of black people. We got pictures with them.
Like we said, didn't we? We were playing that game, and you get like 10,000 points for spotting an afro.
Yeah.
And like even when we went to the zoo and all that, and we were on the coach and we looking for black, see a lot of black people there, like a lot. And remember them two young brothers we were talking to at the stand.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Where are you from?" And he's like, "We're from the same place you're from.
Well,
we're used basically. We like you.
But born there.
But born here, you know what I mean?" And we had to explain where we're from naturally. Because nobody would have guessed we were English people. It was mad, isn't it?
We also seen some people from Fiji there and Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
You know, also.
And the Kiwis, man, the Kiwi brothers,
New
man.
Zealanders.
The New Zealanders, they're like tight, man, yeah.
So you got to really see like a lot of different people just going these two different places.
Seen a lot of stuff, and you know what, it was so different because you know what, we ain't going there to get drunk and mess around, and we actually had it was an adventure, man. It was an adventure. We weren't just sitting on no beach passing time away, wasting money. It was like actually got knowledge, and that broadened my mind like so much.
Well, I felt like, I'm happy you said that because I felt at the time, I remember you were saying to me a lot, I mean, how much your life has changed. And it felt good to me that, that I've opened the minds, it's like, I did really. I mean, can you touch on that? Like,
listen, man. Look, like they say, man. There's always silver linings, and out of bad stuff comes good stuff. Because you know what?
Didn't you?
Yeah, you think if it weren't for me going through that, I'd have been happy, content, and where I was doing what I was doing. You know what I mean? So when you offered me, it was kind of like you offered me a different route. You offered me a different vision. And when I went out, I'm not even messing with you. People were asking me, am I okay? My uncle thought I was going crazy because he seen that much change in me. He kept checking on me and going, are you all right? Are you all right? Yeah. And I'm like, bro, it was so enlightening, man. You know what I mean? Where now I'm starting to question things I never used to question. I'm starting to see stuff I never used to see. I take an interest in a lot of stuff that usually I'd be oblivious to, and ignorance is bliss. But it was crazy because all the times you've asked me to go, what made me go this time, you know what I mean? And I was so happy I went this time.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, a lot of people weren't looking to jump on that trip or weren't interested in it. And I could actually say I thank one of them, because if it weren't for them, like meeting them as people. And I always used to say to them, man, you're so brave. How would you leave your home and come thousands and thousands of miles away and live in a different place?
Yeah.
Whether it was for a need, it was for education, but they still did it. They moved away from the families and they were on their own there and they survived.
And you started travelling other countries after that.
Yeah,
that seemed like
man.
I seen a whole different Daniel then.
I swear, man, like it was kind of crazy. I've been a couple of places after that.
You went to Rome or something?
Yeah, first off, went to Rome, Italy, and done, man. I'm telling you, the art and all that's beautiful. And
the Colosseum, I was looking at your pictures.
Oh yeah, you can see, but brother, you can see our touch there. I'd say a lot of the things in their exhibit are from us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the things in there are from, boy, listen, kid, these ancient Egyptian writing and all of that, and they're trying to play it off like it's some other language. Come on, I know what it is. You know what it is. You see lions, lion heads guard and stuff. You know, where's that come from?
Exactly.
That you know where that comes from. That comes from Egypt, also known as Kemet. It was Africa before the Romans got there. It was Kemet. You know what I mean? So I can see how in Rome, where the Romans went, there's a lot of our history there they've took back.
Oh, yeah. Well, we taught all these people.
You know what? I'd go as far to say, and I'm no historian, so you can't quote me on this or ask me any questions, but I could actually say a lot of the stuff that was there and presented to us that we were looking at in the museum had the incorrect stories.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're just making up a story because it's his story. Let's not forget. Yeah. And they went over. They took over a lot of stuff. They took a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Also, you know, the foundation when I first came with the name Culturalution, and it was the right name to come with because of all these indigenous and what basically what Culturalution means, just for anybody, is the root of the culture. So the first people. So the reason why I came with that, you know, in Malaysia, I thought, well, we need to call this Culturalution because you need to separate the root of a culture to their supposedly indigenous people.
Yep. So it weren't even like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, what do we call the Asli? Because they reside in 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 Tamanagara, which is in a whole different country. It's not in Africa. So we can't say it. It is African history, but you've got to recognize these people have
First
been
peoples.
here that long. That we can't call them Africans. They're Malaysians.
Indigenous.
They reside in Malaysia. They're
Yeah,
indigenous to that land.
Yeah.
But of our people, of our
That's it.
lineage, of our blood, they had our colour, they had our ways, our features. Like I'm saying, you can see a brother all over the world who look like them, and
Yeah.
there is no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, kid? You tell from the noses and the facial features, all of that stuff, man.
Also, you know, this show anyway. It's about discovering new things and that, and everybody who comes on this show, one of the key points is the highlighting the greatness and the positive side of African history. You know, you can clearly see yourself the important, you know, because there's a lot of negativity and stereotypes.
it is, man. Yeah,
so
man.
it's, you know, the whole point in doing this is to try and show people new things, discover the new things.
Let's look at it like this. If we'd have known that stuff in our teen years or early years, like, why we gotta wait 30 odd years to find this stuff out? Why we gotta dig up stuff
Yeah.
that should be common knowledge?
Exactly.
You know, why is everybody hiding so much from us, man? Like, why isn't it there for us to grasp like everything else?
That's
You
it.
know?
Colonialism and
I'd say there's more information out there about stars, which are way out of our reach, than there is about our history
Yeah.
and what we've contributed
Would you remember
to civilization, man.
do you remember when we were in Indonesia and we went to the theatre? And
Yeah, I remember
do you
the
remember
story. Yeah,
about the Queen marrying?
Yeah, I was wiped out then as well, and I kept like nodding off because it was dark. But basically, the story is the king's son married the merchant's daughter. So the Chinese merchant who was heavy in the silk trade and what you call it, the spices trade, and he was so major over there, he actually somehow got his daughter in with the royal prince.
Yeah.
And
Well-
therefore they got married, and that's where you can see where the bridge come from, why they look Asian and black, because Lord knows what the Malaysians looked like before, because they never depicted that, did they?
Yeah.
And you even see in every picture we seen, they were lightened. People were doing skin lightening courses and mad stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And we seen, as you can see in everything, you see the people of the land of the working class, of a certain class, they remain black. They can't afford them treatments, or they're not in the limelight. And as you know, what you've said, now I'm well travelled and I've been keeping an eye out, because I even went to Cuba. And I went to Turkey as well. And you can see, bro, it's not a lie. The lower your job, the darker you be. The lighter you are, the more you're out front. And these are in places that are not controlled by white people. The people of colour. So it's not really a thing to do with race. It's just the way the world sees it. It's like a class system, but an unspoken one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, see, with African history now, going back before slavery, you know, you're obviously aware of like the importance of teaching the positive side of it. You know, whether it's talking about the Moors or whether it's talking about the ancient Egyptians,
damn right.
Cushites,
Damn right,
Ethiopians, and
yeah.
you can see you can see the reason why we want to do that.
These are lost words to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it'd be great for us to know going in the future that a lot of young black people knew what we knew now.
Yeah.
Before they get touched with any sort of like bad stereotype of us, because you know what, we're well more than we've contributed so much to the planet, so much to the building, you know, and how we haven't got no props for that, I don't know, but it's vital for the children to know that, because you can be a lot more than a singer, dancer, entrepreneur, or any entertainer. You know, we were scientists, we created a lot of stuff, we charted the stars, we made numbers. Say numbers come from, you know, these are the things, because I'm telling you right now, I grew up, I was in Catholic school, and they'd say to me how the Egyptians created numbers and all this stuff went on in Egypt and that. They forget to tell me. Now, I discovered where Egypt was when I was about... It was a lot later in life, and I'm talking primary school, because we done a lot of, like the plague and Nazareth and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm now discovering, 16, that Egypt is in Africa.
Yeah.
So I was disgusted and I was angry, and I didn't really listen to a lot more of what they had to say, because how would you keep certain key knowledge from us? We don't know the questions to ask. We're just little kids.
In school, you know, it's you can't. I'll be honest. I mean,
it's the curriculum, man, and you know,
like most people, like I didn't learn too much in school. I mean, not encouraging people not to listen. Of course, it's all to get you a good job, but you also have to get knowledge yourself. Whether it's traveling, reading, you know, you've got to get that knowledge, because otherwise it's the stereotype. But also it's to teach other people as well, to break down the racist, and you know, the usual negative.
And this is what Culturalution's for. Culturalution ain't just to do with black people. It's to do with everybody. It's how we all connect, how we've all come up, how we've all lived, how we've all changed the world, how we all changed everything from the way we live now to the way we used to live thousands of years ago. These big differences, and we contributed to that as well as everybody else. So,
well, you got to see nature at its finest.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
We witnessed that together.
That walk through the jungle was immense though, bro. You know, when we got to the summit and it was just like, it was us, the trees and the clouds, you could see nothing else.
You remember the driver called himself Bob, and you
yeah.
But you knew that was his name, because you asked him.
Definitely. Now, one thing I do after that, I meet a lot of foreign people, and they'll give you this jag English name, you know, just so it's not a tongue twister or that. And I always say, well, tell me your real name. I'll try and learn it and not butcher it. And there's only one name I could never say, and that was this brother in Turkey. There was two brothers who owned this place, and oh my God, you'd have to speak Turkish to get this like out in his name. And I'm a Scouser, and it just was impossible. Like it was like I could not speak this name, so we just called them what we called them. But yeah, everybody's got a name. You know, even that as. How you travel the world and people rob you of your given name, what your people give you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, man, I'm Jamaican Trinidadian, you're Trinidadian African, there's a Nigerian, there's our lineage, but really we come from the same place. Well, now I know for a fact a lot of the Jamaicans come from West Africa. You can see it in our features. You know what I'm saying, brother?
The strongest.
Exactly. You can see it. You can see it in people, bro. I can see a million me's and a million you's all over the earth.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is we can't tell why we look like each other.
Yeah.
But now I know why we look like each other. I know where we're from.
Also, early this year in January, when I brought over a gentleman named Dr. Ranoka Rashidi at the Caribbean Centre. You know, what did you think of the Ranoka Rashidi event?
Well, as you and I both know, we watched a lot of his documentaries, so it was good to see him there in the flesh. And you know what? Like, I'm not even saying this like negatively or nothing. We're small. We're just trying to build something. And he actually took his time out and come to us. This is a guy who's travelled the world. His knowledge is immense. He didn't even have to entertain us to the least, but he did. And he come and he taught us a little something, and he was anxious to come back.
Yeah.
Because you can see that, brother. He's like, doesn't matter whether these 10 people or these 100 people there, I'ma still kick this knowledge.
Well, I'm going to have
it's there for you.
At some point where Ranoka Rashidi, I'll be having him on a webinar soon, you know. So at some point anyway, you know. But you know, it's proper. I'm really happy that you came on it, because it's been anticipated. You see, I've had a lot of people said, "Oh, where's Daniel?" And you know,
you know what it is, man. It's a pleasure. Like I say, I'm waiting for you. You the head of this. You know, like, give our kid total props. He does the research. He's got the knowledge. You know what I mean? I'm along for the ride. I'm learning as well. So eventually, soon, I hope to be as knowledgeable as you on the subject.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And all we can do is step by step, you know what I mean, brother?
Yeah.
But I've got your back all the way. I might not be here all the time, but we always jam together. We talk about this. We collaborate.
Well, you know what? You want me close cousins anyway.
Oh, man, you're my brother, man. Love him to death, you know what I mean? Ain't no doubt about that. So, you know what I'm saying? Tell everybody.
Well, we always have the chemistry anyway when we go in that, you know.
No doubt, man. I'm just happy to be doing something other.
We really argue
with you. Yeah, well, there ain't no arguments here. Because you know what? Every punch valid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, we can always reason with things.
Yeah,
and
even
stuff
if you
like that,
disagree, if you live to disagree, you can tell me, nah, shut a man down. You gotta respect another brother, you know.
But you know what though, it was just, I was proud of you as well when you decided you were coming on a trip, because I knew at the time you didn't see too much of the point, but then something just got into you and just decided I'm
Yeah,
taking
man.
this trip. And
You
when
know what?
when you did take that trip, Daniel,
Like they say, man, you can take a horse to water, brother, and a drank. You know what I mean? And it's different, man.
without the Aquarius in your neck.
Yeah, exactly. like I always say to people, man, if I can do that, you could do that.
That's
we
it.
can all do that. I'm living proof of, you know what?
You are living proof.
And you know what? I'm not shy, man. Like I always say, I'd be like the epitome of ignorance. But even ignorant people learn, you know what I'm saying? And if you don't, you're a fool, man. And that's just
Well, you took that step anyway,
personal.
and that's
Yeah,
the
man.
main thing.
You
And
take the plunge, man. Change is scary, man. But you know what?
Exactly.
Sometimes it's the best thing for you.
so you got the right attitude about it anyway, and like also hopefully when you know a lot of your friends or any other family members you got, and you know inspiring other people to go and do these trips maybe. You know,
Yeah.
and there's different ways you can do it. You don't have to do it where you spend loads of money. You can get either buses there, you know, you can get hire a
Or
car.
we
or,
travel
you know,
by whatever means, man.
whatever
We get
means.
there by whatever means, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll step to somewhere. You know what I mean?
And I just, like I say, you know, this is living proof. It's not no made up stuff. It's when I see the change in you, like everybody did, everybody and yourself.
Yeah, man, no doubt.
You know, and like hopefully,
Definitely, yeah.
and we definitely got more to come. You know, Culturalution, it was only set up last year, CIC and that, but we've got a lot of things to bring. You know, we couldn't do the second event, unfortunately, but then you know, but it's been a great show anyway on discovering Daniel.
No, thanks for having me as our kid, man. I hope to be back as well and do this stuff with you a lot more.
Yeah, hopefully maybe we can get something going in the future anyway.
No
but
doubt,
thank you
man.
for coming, Daniel, anyway.
I love you, man.
peace.
Big Condo Radio.
Salute.
Shout
anyway.
out.
Big Condo Radio, discovering
Yeah.
new things, new ways.
Culturalution.
That's it, Culturalution.
Definitely, man. Get on us.
Thank you.